I love making cards with pre-printed pattern papers, but it's also really easy to stamp your own. Hi, I'm Jessica Taylor from Ink It Up with Jessica, and in this video, I'm going to give you tips for stamping your own one-color stamped backgrounds for your cards. Monochromatic means using only one color, and that's what we're going to do for the backgrounds of these cards. For this one, I'll stamp the carrot in pumpkin pie ink on pumpkin pie cardstock. And for this one, I'll stamp the Easter eggs in Coastal Cabana ink on Coastal Cabana cardstock. You're going to want to put scratch paper down underneath where you're going to stamp because you want to stamp off the edges of your cardstock. So this is my paper pumpkin cardstock. I'm stamping on a full card front. So right on the card front, if you are new to this, you might want to practice on just a sheet of cardstock so that if you don't like how it turns out, you can turn it over and try again on the other side. I'm going to stamp with this cute little carrot stamp. And you want to stamp off the edges. You don't want to keep your stamped images all within the cardstock because that's going to look weird. You'll notice that when you buy a pre-printed patterned paper, the images always go off the edge. You also want to rotate your stamp because you don't want a line of the same images. That also is going to look a little bit weird. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you have stamps or a background where you want to do that, but often you want to be rotating your stamp. For these cards, I'm just going around the edges. I know that I'm going to put a big piece in the middle, so I don't really care how the middle turns out. Also, for this one, I'm keeping the carrots kind of going one direction, as in up and down. Sometimes I'll rotate them so that they're going all different ways. It's whatever your preference is. If I was going to be stamping the middle too, I would go about it a little bit differently in that I would want to make sure, especially if I was going to use a larger stamp, I would want to make sure that I have room for it without it crossing funny. And so I would probably start at one corner and work my way diagonally towards the other corner. But for this one, I'm just going to stamp the carrots around the edges like so. Sometimes I will take the piece that I'm going to put on top and place it over to make sure that I'm not missing any spots. Like I might notice that right here needs another carrot. But it really is that easy. Now let's try stamping the Easter eggs on Coastal Cabana cardstock with Coastal Cabana ink. This stamp is a little bit bigger and it has 3 Easter eggs in a row. So I might just rotate it a little bit differently. But once again, I'm going to keep it around the edges. So I'm just rotating it a little bit to the right and the left. Again, I could make it go upside down if I wanted to. I'm also altering where I put it so that I don't have all of like the circle Easter eggs right together or all of the striped Easter eggs right together. I'm going off of the edges. You also want to stamp consistently. Sometimes I will stamp multiple times in between re-inking my stamp. For this one, I'm re-inking my stamp and then stamping every single time. Whichever way you decide to do it, you want to just make sure you do it consistently. And there I have another background ready for a card. Want to stamp your own background with a word stamp? Watch this video next.